Hi everyone, welcome to It's Okay to Be Okay. I'm one of your hosts, Melissa, and we are here with Crystal and Jen. Today we're just going to step into a conversation and just see where it goes. We're going to flow with what it means to really understand the understanding, like the positive impact it brings to our lives. So let's hit it off. One of you girls can go first because I introduced us.
It can go? Okay. So, when I think about what I've gotten from this understanding, right, I have to think about what it was like before. And before, even on a good day, I struggled. I spent most of the time in my head trying to figure stuff out, and I was always tense and always looking and always preparing. Um, Even my good days were stressful. And the more and more I look in this direction and I understand being present and what my thoughts do to me and how I get caught up in them, I have been able to enjoy life as it comes up. When things don't go as planned, I can just kind of roll with it and see what I get to find from this unexpected adventure instead of, and don't get me wrong, I still have days that I dread, that I get up and I'm in my head and I'm like, ooh, I don't know what to expect. I don't know. But I don't stay in that all day looking for everything to go wrong. I might have that for a little bit and I recognize that I'm doing it. And then I can drop out of that and meet whatever comes at me without taking it serious, without being dragged down and weighted down by it. I mean, I can just flow with life. I'm not constantly stressed. I'm not constantly in my head. I sit on my porch and I listen to birds and I watch the cat. We just got more bird seed because the birds are coming out and I love watching the birds. I get so much of my day back by not being caught up in my head, and I enjoy life so much more.
Yeah, I'm a bit like you. Like, you can really tell when you look back, like where we came from. And even now, like, I still struggle with some things, and I'm kind of working on a loop at the minute. It's the loop of visibility, being authentic, and money. And I still believe the thoughts, and I still feel that anxiety every morning when I wake up, but it's so different to what it used to be in the sense that I know it's my thinking creating it.
Yes.
And just knowing that means I don't take it so seriously. Yes, I get caught up in the storm and I'm like blowing around in the tornado, but I don't stay in it like you said, Jen. I don't stay in it all day. I just have these little pockets of tornadoes when the thought comes up and I'm catching myself. Like even this morning I woke up and instantly I felt that anxiety and I was like, I spotted you, you little fucker. And I can be playful with it, even with feeling the anxiety, even while feeling uncomfortable, even while feeling sad or all these different emotions that you can feel. Like knowing this understanding does bring that level of peace underneath it all. And it doesn't mean it's, before it used to feel permanent. You know, I don't look at myself now as I need to be fixed. And that was one of my main issues. Like I thought I needed to find someone to help me fix myself because I thought my brain was broken. I thought I was a weirdo, like a fuck up and all of that kind of crap. And now I look at myself like I'm just a human having thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And even with my struggles, it's like having a superpower. It really is. And it can be fun and it can, and the insights that keep popping up. Like, so here's an insight I had. So just before I come on here, I had a little nap, as the girls know, and in the nap, I was like, because that's another thing. I used to ask myself all the time, why am I still doing this? Why am I still believing this? Why am I this? Why that? Why that? And now I don't do that. I'm just like, I'm just having a thought and I'm feeling it. That's all that's happening. And it's like, have you ever used a saw and like cut wood?
Mhm.
Right? You go on the first one and you might get it wrong just a little bit. And then you try and move it like a millimeter just to get a new cut, but it keeps going into that same fucking rivet, the one that you cut previously. And it's like that. Our mind is so used to thinking certain thoughts that it goes into that rivet. That's all
Mhm.
that's happening, because so often we think, oh, but I'm not thinking anything, I'm just feeling it. But no, whatever you're feeling, it's coming from a thought. Like this morning, I was like, I caught it. It was a flash. It was a flash of a thought, but I caught it. And that's what we're doing all the time. We're having these thoughts, and our emotions are so connected to that specific thought because we've had it so many times. And then when that thought only has to flash once and we're feeling it, but it is just a thought. And we think it's true because we're feeling it, but it's not. And when you see that, I caught you, little fucker, it's like, okay, I know this feeling is going to go soon. I'm just feeling it. And it's like you can see the bubble. It's like sometimes when I'm like in that anxiety, I'm like, I know that my mind's creating this. I know that I'm in this kind of bubble of anxiety. And it's almost like sometimes I can come out of it and see what's going on. And be like, okay, I am safe. Everything's fine. And then I can just sit with it and it's okay. That to me is life changing. And yeah, I went on a proper ramble there. So, Crystal, have with it.
Yeah. Okay. What's it like? No, like the first thing that came to my mind, so simple.
Mm,
Life is so simple. And maybe that sounds boring, but it's so not boring. And kind of like Jen, and you got to kind of think of like what you were before. And then you notice how much you're different without any effort at all. And it's
mhm,
like, it's truly amazing that like, I'm amazed by this understanding every single day. And like you said, I get up in the mornings and most mornings, okay? Sometimes Crystal sleeps in. Most mornings. And I watch the sunrise, not because I say, okay, it's time to get up, watch the sunrise. I just find myself doing it. And I can promise you, like, it's not that I never saw a sunrise, in the past. It's just, I don't really remember. Every morning, even if it's cloudy, and I can't actually see the sun, I still watch the sunrise. I watch the sunset. Again, not on purpose. It just happens. It's because the presence and the quiet pulls us into this space of just before you know it, you are just gazing at the sunset or the sunrise or the birds. Right now it's turning it's spring and I'll just be staring at the little buds on the trees of the leaves coming back and just no thought, just staring and just kind of taking it in. And the wind, this is something I love lately too. The wind. So I live in a place where there's lots of trees
It
and
talks through the trees.
it's so beautiful. And you know what? Sometimes sounds like ocean waves when the wind's really going. Sounds like ocean waves. So yeah, and it's not to say that I don't get crazy thoughts sometimes or like, whoa, where'd that one come from? But like you said, Melissa and Jen, if you don't, I don't pay any attention to it. Sometimes, maybe, but then I'm like, "Ooh, yuck." He's like, like, "Oh, that doesn't feel good. Why am I doing that?" So, yeah, I don't know. For me, it's just the beautiful simplicity of living in this understanding that's just like and what I hear right now, living for real,
Yeah.
not just going through the motions, not just getting up. Like you said, Melissa, I was like that. Get up. Oh my gosh, I was already anxious. I was already pissed. I was already everything. I was behind, even if I wasn't behind. I so was. I used to wake
Mm.
up like that every morning and just not waking up like that and not going through every day like that is like, man, I can't think of a bigger blessing, seriously. It's so amazing and wonderful and magical, like a superpower. I love it.
Yes.
Because, yeah, shit happens all day long. Shit happens all day long. I mean, yesterday I was at a big family gathering, so many kids. Gotta understand, noise level through the roof. But it's so funny because in the midst, and I'm sure you both can relate to that, of all of that chaos and noise and loudness, there's still this peace. There's still this quiet. There's still this presence. There's still this awe of looking around and saying, man, this is cool. That's what I think.
Well, I used to think so fast. I was always going so fast that I was like always at my boiling point. My kids used to walk on eggshells. There was always yelling and screaming in my house. Not because I was like screaming at them, but if I was upset, if that was my go-to, I was a yeller. If I got scared, if one of them got hurt, I yelled at him because why would you do that? I mean, I would bring it back, but that was my initial that's how I dealt with things because I was so there has not been yelling in my house for years. It's been replaced with laughter, with, joking and fun. And just by slowing down and not going so fast, I've got to know my kids,
Mm.
and they're like people, They're like real people now, and they're kind of cool, and I kind of like them. And now instead of everything being, you know, falling apart or whatever, it's like even when something goes wrong, even when there is a thing that we have to address, it's addressed differently. Okay, let me use an example. My youngest was at school the other day, and him and his buddy were horse playing and messing around, and he was swinging his lunchbox and he hit his friend. And my husband's like, well, you were fucking around when you shouldn't have been fucking around. Stop fucking around. And then I got home and he's telling me, and it's like, okay, so what you're saying is you and your friend were being boys and fucking around when you shouldn't have been, but it wasn't too horrible. You didn't get in trouble. I was like, did your friend get mad at you when you hit him? No. Did he yell and scream at you? No. It's like, okay, so because my son has a tendency to overreact if he's the one that gets. It's like, so now I want you to remember this next time you're fucking around when you shouldn't be. And if maybe you're the one that gets hurt, how you deal with it. And he wasn't in trouble with me. I mean, I'm kind of proud of him because he has a friend and he was being a boy and doing what 13-year-old sixth graders do at recess and fucking around and being dumb with his friend. Fuck around and be dumb. Just don't be too dumb. I want that for him. I want him to have these experiences, but I also want him to be able to take it in and realize, okay, so this means I can't overreact if I'm the one that accidentally gets hurt. in it, but just in difference between how me and my husband talk to him. My husband was just like, "You know you shouldn't have been fucking around, don't fuck around." Which, perfectly fine, but he's never really had friends to fuck around with and do that silly stuff with, so I'm like, "Well, so do it, just don't get in trouble and don't, you know, you gotta be the tough one too if you end up getting hurt." And then, like, complete different stories. Sorry, these are kinda dumb, but we went to the store yesterday and I bought this little $3 Nerf gun with all the darts, and, it I was gonna get it for the cats, and then it hits a little hard, so now we're gonna go get 4 more guns, and we're just gonna practice, being tough when we're fucking around playing and it not hurt. We gotta build up an immune system to getting hit with these darts, and it hits pretty good, so that's our new lesson that we're gonna do today.
I love that. It's so much fun.
Right? All of us are gonna get a gun, and we're all gonna get a bunch of darts, and it's gonna be every person for themselves. No
Mm.
headshots.
I've done that before. I can't remember what it's called. It's like the little, the little metal pellets.
Yes.
I can't remember what it's called.
The
Uh,
BBs.
yeah, they're basically BBs, but there's a place where you can literally go and shoot people, and like paint gun, but it's with
Yeah,
BBs. And
okay.
I went and done that, and it was really good fun. But fuck me, did it hurt? And I got one right
Oh,
in the neck. Had this massive bruise for like a week. That just reminded me of that because it was so much fun. But oh, it hurt. Um, do you know what I really, really love about this
hmm.
understanding is that I don't need people around me to change
Yeah.
for me to be okay. And I used to try to change people all the time. And I used to think like they're making me miserable or they're pissing me off or they're making me sad or they're making me happy. And during this understanding and knowing that no one can make you feel anything, that for me was life changing and so liberating and so freeing and just like and now I have so much compassion for people. Like I had compassion for people before, but now it's like it's okay. Like, not that I don't have boundaries, but just I just don't care in a way that's like, you be you. And if I don't like that, then I won't have you in my life. If I like that, then I like that. And it's just like, and I'm having an insight as I speak, as I'm saying this. It's like, that's why authenticity is so important because then you find your people. Uh, yeah, that's one thing I love. Another little story. So yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? I was driving my car and I was stuck in traffic. And this is also what I love. So I'm in the truck car driving, and like you guys, I was looking over and there was like the flowers starting to blossom. I'm like, oh, they're so pretty. It's like purple and white. And I was looking at them and I'm like, beep behind me, this big lorry going, move. Now, don't get me wrong, the car in front of me only moved 2 spots. And I was like, seriously, mate, he's moved 2 spots. What the fuck? And I could see it. There was like 2 different realities happening in my head that I could choose from. Like one was like being really petty and going really, really slow and humming while I was doing it. Because I wanted to piss him off because he beat me. Like, how dare you? And then the other one was like, just let it go. Just let it go. It doesn't matter. He may be having a bad day. He may be, wanting to get home. And it's like, it's almost like you have that space between the reaction and like what happened. And then you're like, oh, I've got all this space to now choose what reality I want to go down. That's how I kind of saw it in my head, and I thought that was really cool as well.
Yes.
I love that because I'm so guilty sometimes of that. When I have somebody that's, like, behind me or whatever, and you can just tell they're in such a hurry, and like you said, you have that all of a sudden your 2 realities right here, okay? It's like, which one? Ooh, do I really wanna be like, "But you know what? Like, if I just go slow and yeah, it might not be so nice, but hey, maybe I'm teaching them a lesson to slow down," which is just bullshit I'm making up in my head to just say, "Go ahead and be an asshole and go slow and make them slow down." Or like you said, who knows what's going on in their life? We never know what's going on in somebody else's life. So I found that really funny because I'm so guilty of just being like, yeah, I so want to just go slower and making up a whole
It's
story about it.
so
So yeah,
tempting.
is it's tempting and I do it sometimes for a minute and then I'm
Yeah.
like, quit being an asshole, Crystal. And then I'm like, okay, fine, on with my day. But yeah,
Mm.
I so do it.
Well, I've been both versions of those. I'm like, I have been that asshole driver that will drive up your ass if you're in my way. I don't really do it anymore, but I used to have major road rage, and I have been that other person. It's like, so yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting. Like, I've been you. I know what you're feeling right now. It's okay.
So many life
But
lessons on the road.
oh yeah.
I was gonna say we'll be driving in the car and someone will go speeding by and I'll like my youngest will be with me. My youngest, she's 18. And I'll be like, Kinsey, see, look, there's no reason to be in that big of a hurry ever. You don't need to be in that big of a hurry. Just slow down. And so I love it. Of course, I
Yeah.
guess that's a little judgy, huh?
Yeah. Because you judge me because I still do have a bit of a lead foot. I am still a bit of a speed freak, but not like I used to be. I
So
can I
fun.
can I can feel you judging me.
No,
I'm joking.
honestly, no. Because, my son drives like an asshole. Seriously. Like, I'll get his like top speed of his driving completed. It's like 90 something. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Why? And I'll say to him, why? Why? Just tell me, why is there ever a reason to go that fast? All kinds of reasons. It's so fun. People piss him off. Everybody's in his way, likes to zoom in and out of traffic. I think he thinks he's a fucking race car driver. I'm not sure. I don't
Mm,
know. I can promise you the speed limit is nowhere near that. Okay.
Yeah,
Way
my
over.
daughter my daughter does that as well. She's just it's the stretch between where I live in Las Vegas.
Mm,
It's, just under 100 miles of pretty much straight or uphill or downhill. It's a whole lot of and yeah, I get it. I get it, but it's like, I kinda like you and I'd like you to stay. Like, I'd like to keep you for a while. But I used to drive, like, horribly, horribly. I was on drugs and didn't care if I lived or died. But, you always think you're in a hurry, especially if you are a fast thinker.
mhm.
And I know I'm not a fast thinker anymore because I don't like to drive that fast. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I don't like the reaction time I get if something runs out in front of me."
I love the thrill of it. Just not even just on roads, like all of it. Like I've done skydives, I've done all sorts, and I really want this year. One of my goals is to do like a really like one of the highest bungee jumps there is.
Yeah.
But that's
See
kind of symbolic
Mhm.
of letting go.
We're gonna do the zip line in Vegas. Gonna take my daughter, and we're all gonna do the zip line.
Is that the one that goes through like the building?
Yeah, yeah, it goes, like, clear down all the way through. It should be fun. But yeah, I keep hearing simple because, like you had said, Crystal, yeah, life is so much more simple, and simple doesn't mean boring. Simple means when I walk out on my back porch, I can sit and just be a part of the whole, listen to the birds and watch them fight and work together and figure things out. And uh, I'm not in a hurry. I'm not in a hurry. And even when things don't work out my way, I might get upset, but it's not for very long. I breathe through it and am open to what comes. And sometimes what comes after you don't get what you thought you wanted is exactly what you were looking for.
Mm.
I look at my job, I wanted to make it on my own, but in doing so, wouldn't have been able to work with the people that I want to work with. Now I'm right with the people I want to be with. Was put right there and didn't even know that that's where I was going, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I saw something the other day, another thing in my head. Um, it's like I saw, like I go for dog walks, so we go for dog walks, and there's like fields, and then you have like this gate, and then you have like a number of different fields, and it's like sometimes our desire is just the gate that leads you to somewhere else, but so many people are holding on to the gate.
Thinking that that's the best they can get.
Yeah, or like just like they think that they have a desire and a goal, and then that's it, but that desire could be leading you to a different desire. And if you let go of the gate, it can take you to all kinds of different places. Like because there's this big thing about you have a desire, you have a goal, you start going to it, and then like, oh, if you don't go anymore, then you're a quitter, right?
Right.
But actually, that could just have been the gate to lead you to somewhere else. And
Yeah.
that one could be just another gate. And, so it just keeps going. Because the thing is, like our desires, yes, they come from source, but if you're like at a level here, you're not gonna get a desire that's up here. You're gonna get desire that's just a little bit above where you are now. And then you can go that way, and then it's gonna lead you through
Mhm.
all these different gates that you don't even know that you want. Your desires not even come into your like consciousness yet, like the true desire of like, if that makes sense. So don't be attached to a desire, because that desire that you think you have could just be moving you in a direction. If you're doing something and then the love falls away anymore, and you're like, this doesn't feel like serving me, but you're staying with it because you feel like you're a quitter if you don't. No, there's a reason why it doesn't feel good anymore, because that was just there to get you to that place. Now, where's your desire leading you to?
Yeah. It's like going through a walk through a maze or through the woods or through a path or whatever. And how do you know if you don't go and if you stay on that straight path right ahead of you, how do you know that that path over here isn't like have the most glorious view you've ever seen in your life? And how do you know that this path over here isn't going to lead you to something so spectacular you could have never even imagined if you just stay on that path with
Mhm.
like blinders
Yeah.
and not see anything else around, just going straight for that goal, like you said. And then we get there and we're like, really? Is this what this is it? This is what. And then if we don't, for whatever reason, let's say we just stop for a minute and we sit down, yeah, here come stories in your mind about, well, I just failed this one. I might as well quit. Can't keep going forward. Here we go again. Just the bullcrap stories. And yeah, that's kind of what I heard. And then Jen, when you were talking, I loved it. The whole going back out on your back porch, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. I was thinking in my head, I do that, I'll sit on my deck when it's nice out. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't do it when it's really freezing cold. But when it's nice out, I do. And I just it's so cool because it's like you sit there and you just become part of everything.
Mhm.
You're not the one just, I don't know, for me, I don't feel like I'm the one just taking it all in. I feel like I'm there with the trees and with the sun, with the wind, with the birds, with my dog, whoever, whatever, the clouds. It's just being a part of it is
Yeah.
something I would have never, ever, ever been aware of in the past, ever. And I love it.
Yes. So real fast, I want to go back to when we set goals and we got to be careful cuz sometimes the doing of reaching the goal becomes an addiction. And then
Mm.
once you reach the goal, well, now what do you do? So you set a new goal, and with this, the goal isn't doing. The goal is being. And that can be really hard if you're addicted to doing and to allow it to unfold. But when we can slow down the doing and even add in just a tiny bit of being, life meets us at that being. And what unfolds if we slow down long enough is things that I don't think we could ever imagine. I mean, we could almost get there in our imagination, but to have it life actually meet you where you are and then be able to like grow with that, it's empowering. It's like breathing for the first time almost without all that heaviness of all the doing stacked on top of your chest. And when life meets you at your being, that's when the top of the box opens up. Anything is possible. You're not going to get stuck unless you close that box again. And that's a miracle all in itself, I think. I don't know if that made sense. I don't know if I explained that right. But yeah.
No, it made sense. I don't know which one of you said about how simple it is, and it's that simplicity as well. Like, I find myself when I'm doing, like, posts on social media, and the answer is just, "It's your thoughts." That's it. Your thoughts are creating your entire experience, and, like, that's it. That's it. You know?
Yeah, that's it.
Mhm. And we have to complicate it, and we have to add try and add and trying to, like, but I was sitting there yesterday, and I was, like, trying to reword it in some way. I'm like, "Why am I trying to reword it? It is that simple." And so I've got a post that I'm kind of doing at the minute. I have all these questions, and then the answer is, "You're in your thinking. You're in your thinking. You're in your thinking." Like, for every single problem that there was, you're in your thinking. And
Yeah.
it's like, that's it. That is
The
the
whole problem.
But doesn't it make you feel like sometimes a broken record? It's in your
Yeah.
thinking. It's in your thinking. It but it's true because it is so simple and it is just that. It is a thought. It is in your thinking, but, it's like
Yeah.
Really, I get it, you know?
I
But
I remember when I was working with my American client, and she'd come to me like these are the first few weeks where she had a lot of resistance, and she'd come to me with all these problems, and I'm like, "Senior thinking," and literally would say something along that lines, and then it started getting to the point where she would come to me with these problems, and then she would say it, and then she was like, "I know what you're gonna say. It's in my thinking." I was like, "Yep," and then she started, because I kept repeating it over and over and over again. She started to see it herself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, never underestimate, because that's one thing I hate doing is, like, repeating myself because I feel like I'm a broken record, like you said, Crystal, but never underestimate the fact that every time we repeat that, someone hears it. I mean, how many times have we heard things in the Three Principles community, not really heard what they were saying, and then someone else has said it, exact same thing, and we're like, "Oh, I get it now," and we've heard
yeah,
it hundreds of times before.
it's so cool.
It only takes one time for them to, like, click, and then it's like, "Oh, how did I not hear that before?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love is, like, our whole lives, we're literally telling ourselves in so many different ways, but there's so many common sayings, and one time, a friend of mine and myself were going through, like, the common sayings of how many sayings there are where we're literally telling ourselves it's just your thinking. So, like, for an example of a common saying where, let's say, you're excited about an idea, like, and you share it with your friend, and then they're not as excited as you were, and you're like, "Oh, it was just a thought." Too many times in my life I said, "It was just a thought."
Yeah.
It
Without
blows my mind
Yeah.
now that, like, I told myself that so many times, and I didn't know the truth behind that. To me, it was just words coming out of my mouth
Mhm.
of, and it almost is like an excuse when they don't like what you were saying. I was like, "Oh, it's just a thought." So, I mean,
Yeah, now we look
just
at it and, like, we laugh about it because, like, holy shit, like, we were literally telling ourselves the truth, and we didn't even realize it.
no, but once that truth actually just get that littlest glimpse of, "Oh my gosh," then you start noticing truth everywhere.
Mhm.
In even in those simple things of, "It's just a thought, I'm sorry," and you're like, "Hey, you know what? It was just a thought. Let it go." But yeah, simple.
Yeah. Lighthearted. I don't take life so seriously.
Mhm.
When something happens, I do not feel personally attacked by the universe. I used to. I used to very much. I'm like, what the hell did I do? Why are you trying to get me so much? And then that just fed the idea that I was broken.
Mhm.
And it's funny where all of the stories that we get about ourselves come from. Because when you start to see that they're all thought, and then you can see, like, and it's like, can't believe I ever believed that. But life isn't heavy like it used to be.
Yeah, same. There's not these weights weighing me down. There's not this hate for myself. There's not this it's just so much freeing. Even in those, like, at the minute, I've got, like I said, I've got this loop with visibility, and every time I try to be visible, my computer fucks up, or my phone fucks up, or the TV fucks up. Like, it is frustrating, and I'd get, like, maddening, but I'm also laughing at the same time because it's, like, so, like it's, like, supernatural in the way that my stuff fucks up every time I try to take action, and even like, "Dave, look, he's doing it fucking again, like, what the fuck?" And then I'm like, "Mm." But then I'm angry, but I'm laughing at the same time because I know that I'm creating it, and it's almost like I can laugh at myself while being angry, while being frustrated. It's like all the emotions in one, and I'm like, I'm creating this bubble that I'm in. And yeah, where was I going with that? just the funniness of it. Like, I can laugh at myself right now. I never used to be able to laugh at myself. And another thing, I had another insight when the other day at calisthenics. Well, actually, I had it a few weeks ago. So when I started calisthenics, I was playful. It was fun. And then, so I started in January. And then by the end of January, I started realizing that it was not as fun anymore because I become too serious about myself. I was like, I need to be able to do this. I need to be able to do these handstands. I need to be able to do these moves. And I couldn't do them. And then I was getting frustrated with myself. And then I was showing my frustration in class. And then I was being embarrassed about myself because I was showing my frustration. And it was probably March. I again, like, I just went to do a handstand. And as I come up, I was like, I've stopped playing. I've stopped playing and I've become serious again. And instantly, it went like that. As soon as I saw that. And now every time from then on, I've gone back and I've played. And I'm getting the moves. And even if I'm not getting a move, I'm not being serious about myself. I'm not going, or anything like that. It's like, oh, I didn't get it that time. I'll get it again. Like, bring play into everything you do. Childlike. And yeah, I thought that was a really important kind of, because the thing is, the more serious you get, the more tense up you get, and then you can't do the thing. When I'm on the computer and I'm trying to do things when I'm frustrated, I can't do it because it messes up even more. But if I leave it alone and then come back to it, then magically it starts working again.
Yeah. But anything we try to do when we're frustrated and in our head, that's when I get hurt. That's when I hurt myself. That's when I do things that don't make sense. That's when I do things that put myself in harm's way. But when I can let that frustration settle, then I can see how to do it. And I can just do it. And then it's like, well, that wasn't that hard. But then here's the kicker. That's when I would start beating myself up for not being able to get it before. Because my thinking had to be going all the time.
hmm When I was doing my client portal and I was trying to work out something and I just could not work it out for the life of me, I tried ChatGPT, I tried YouTube, and it just wasn't working. And I was getting really frustrated, and then I left it. I think me and Dave went out for a walked the dog. He was like, "Let's go out for a walk, let's get out of the house." And then obviously I was like, "Let it go." And then later on I went back to it and I was in a good state and I saw the solution in less than 2 minutes.
Mhm.
Like, I couldn't see the solution because I wasn't in the state where that solution was resonant with. You know, the solution and the problem are never on the same radio station.
As I slowed down enough to be able to start recognizing my usual thought patterns that I didn't even realize I had. It's like the more I slowed down and recognized it, I didn't have to change it. I didn't have to fight it. I just had to see that it was there and not believe it. So I didn't have to do all this work. I just had to notice. Notice, this is what I do to myself. I beat myself up. I tear myself down. I convince myself I'm wrong. I just had to notice that this is what I do. That is the start of my downfall. And just in noticing it, I didn't have to believe it. And those thoughts could come up and do the things that they tried to do. But I didn't grab onto them. That's the simplicity of it. I didn't have to follow the thought and find out where it stemmed from and why I have it and then try to rewrite it and fuck that. No. Somewhere along the way I picked up the thought process that keeps me stuck. I don't have to know where it came from because I mean, I'm sure there's so many opportunities where that thing just grew stronger throughout my life. And I don't have to revisit any one of those. You know, we don't have to suffer to get better. We don't have to understand all of it because we're not going to understand so much of why we started talking to ourselves the way we do. We just have to notice that it's what we do. Slow the thinking down, and that creates space to enjoy life and have fun.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know
we d
why all that came, but there you go. That's my
Wow.
wisdom.
It was kind of like exactly what Melissa was pointing to with her calisthenics, and then you just broke it down in a different way. And what's so beautiful about that, it is when we take things so seriously and we try so hard and we get so stressed and frustrated and ooh, this used to be fun and it's not fun anymore. Why am I not having fun with it? And it's because we're making it so complicated. We're making life complicated. We're taking everything personally. Like it's a personal attack, every single thing. And it's not. So yeah, I loved what you were saying, Melissa, and then Jen with you following up with it. You gotta go back to that just beautiful curiosity, that beautiful playfulness. And yeah, when things stop becoming fun, when things start feeling heavy and like, ugh, that feeling of ugh, maybe then get quiet and see why the ugh is coming in the first place. It's usually because we're all so caught up in the outcome, or we're taking it too seriously, or we're believing the story, or any of those things. When we just let go and return back to just having fun, no matter what the outcome, ah, that's where our answers do come from. That's where we can hear our wisdom. That's where, well, if we're having a problem, then here's the solution now because I got quiet and took that much needed relax and not get all caught up in the fuck I didn't do it right. Oh, I
Yeah.
failed this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just go back to the fun, just like you're saying, that want and curiosity of a child is beautiful.
Yeah. And being playful with, like you were saying, like, "Oh, I've got that thought going on again. I've got that belief going on again." And be playful with that as well.
Yeah,
Oh, like the curiosity instead of like you were saying, instead of judging yourself that you've believed that, like, "Oh, I just realized I believe this. I don't need to believe this. I don't need to go back and see where it stemmed from because you'd be there for fucking years. I was there for years trying to fucking follow the route back." Like Jen said, it could be different things. It's like, oh, I'm believing this about myself. Silly me. I have awareness now. I can see it.
Mhm.
And it may come up a few more times and I may believe it again. But then as soon as that awareness comes, oh, I'm aware again. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I did this morning. Like I woke up with that anxiety. I'm like, okay, I know that I'm just in a little storm of anxiety. I know it's not real. I know it's fake. Not fake, but I know it's not real. It's an illusion. And I know that I'm okay. That's it. And not
that's
taking it seriously.
yeah. I was gonna say it's beautiful because you know the knowing of I'm okay. It's not this knowing I'm okay. It's this knowing deep inside. You don't have to question it. You just know you're okay. And yeah, then you can just laugh at it, not take it seriously, let it go, be like, oh, weird thought, whatever.
Mhm.
And like you said, trying to go back and figure out, well, what exactly started this thought? What started this pattern? What started this habit? What started this?
It's a
I said this before.
combination of everything.
Well, I
Yeah.
said this before to a friend of ours, Vienna. I was like, you know what it's like? And she had me repeat it because she was like, did you say that right? I said, yeah, I said it the way I meant to say it. Well, the way it came to me, it's like looking for a piece of hay in a needle stack the opposite way. Because damn, everything hurts. You're trying to dig in there and find out and
Mhm.
getting poked here and getting poked there. Just don't dig, man.
I
Don't
love
dig.
that.
Just let it
Oh my
go.
god, I love that, Crystal, that metaphor, like, yeah.
When it
Wow.
came to me and I said it to Vienna, she's like, do you mean the other way around? I said, nope. I
Mhm.
don't. I mean it this way. That's the way it came to me because that's what we do. We're looking for the piece of hay in the needle tech and it hurts. So just stop.
Yeah. And then what
Why?
happens as well when you go back, you start blaming other people. Yep.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then it goes on that cycle again.
Either
Hmm.
that or you blame yourself
Mm,
and you create this bad self-image.
another story.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good place to end. You
Yes.
girls are ready? So I think the most important thing that I want to say right now is every single one of your problems, every part of your suffering and the good stuff is all coming from your thinking in the moment. That is it.
Give yourself space. Look for the space between the thoughts because that's where the answers are going to be found.
Give yourself a break. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're all human beings trying to do the best that we can. We all trip and fall. We all have the ability to get back up.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Enjoy life.
And play like children.
Absolutely.
Like, share, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Ask us questions. We're here.
Thanks, everyone. See you on the next one.